Okay, welcome everybody. Bruchim Aboim, and a Freilich and Kosher Pesach. Start with that, and a happy Aleph Nissan. 120 years from the birthday of the Rebbe. Was born in Tov Reish Samach Beis, 1902. And this Aleph Nissan is coming Tuesday. Will be Rebbe's turning 120. So she has Mashiach now. Okay, so now I'm already hinted at that we'll talk about the Parshas a little bit, and in connection to Rebbe's birthday, connecting with the idea of Rebbe's, especially before Pesach, where Moshe Rabbeinu took the out of Mitzrayim. Why do we say Moshe Rabbeinu took the out of Mitzrayim? Moshe Kibel Torah Misinai, making too much of a issue for Moshe Rabbeinu. Should mention more the Eibishter. So, we spoke about it a little bit before, but we'll talk about it a little bit again. What is really the idea, the contribution, if you want to call it, or the effect of the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu? And why is it like that? Is it better for us? Maybe why wouldn't it be better to go direct to the Eibishter? Why do we have to go to Moshe Rabbeinu? The Eibishter is infinite and he could come to us direct. Why does it have to go through Moshe Rabbeinu? Okay, so what we'll do first, we'll throw a few questions, and some of them will answer, some of them we won't answer, and we'll see how it goes. So first of all, this week is Parshas Metzora, as a hachone to Aleph Nissan. Aleph Nissan is on Tuesday after Parshas Metzora. The Shabbos, my name is Baruch Kol Yemen. In the week before and the week after, especially for sure to Tuesday, many halachic ideas. For example, if somebody didn't make Havdalah, you can still make it till Tuesday. And Wednesday starts already the preparation for next Shabbos. The next Shabbos will be Pesach already. So what is the connection of Parshas Metzora with Aleph Nissan, with 120 years, with the idea of the Nasi Hader? Interesting, just a reminder of saying the Nasi of the Shevet every day. It's a big thing of the idea of the Nasi in that time now. So it says, but Mashiach is called Metzora. Mashiach is Chivra de Rebbe. Basically, it's Chivra means Metzoras. It's a Metzora. Mashiach is a Metzora. Why? What is the connection of Mashiach to be a Metzoras and to say that he's a Metzora himself? Okay, so just to make clear that we're talking there's a lot of great people in Moshe in this time. There was Arna Cain, there was Miriam, Nevia, I think it was spoke about last week. There was Shiurim Skenim, and there was Rosh Alfei Yisrael, right? There was many great tzaddikim. There was Nachshon, there was Miriam, there was a lot of tzaddikim. But after all that, Moshe Rabbeinu was the Nasi Ader, the Nasi of every Shevet, but Moshe was the Nasi Ader. And he took the down to Mitzrayim, and he's the one who received the Torah and gave in to the Torah. So, therefore, it says in Zohar, there's no generation that doesn't have somebody like Moshe Rabbeinu. How could we say that? The Rambam said that Moshe Rabbeinu is the biggest prophet in history. Even Mashiach won't be close to him. So Moshe Rabbeinu was the Pchir HaNeviim. Moshe Rabbeinu, we call the only one who called him Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu, the Rebbe of all generations, but he gave us the Torah. Even the whole Torah that was Nischadesh later, what would be Nischadesh even after Mashiach came, how to little Moshe Messina. Everything was given to Moshe Rabbeinu from Sinai. Yeah. So Moshe Rabbeinu is saying that he's the one who had to give it here. And it says, the definition of exile, it says, they did not hear what Moshe Rabbeinu is saying. I don't think that hearing physically, they heard physically. They couldn't relate to what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying about redemption, because of the shortness of breath in the physical sense, because they were enslaved, the spiritual and the shortness of ruach of ruchnis. His spirituality was the short breath. So therefore, the Zohar said that every generation is somebody like Moshe Rabbeinu, but how could you say that? You could say somebody like Moshe Rabbeinu in the idea of the position. So it's just like explaining that not every generation is somebody in the level exactly of Moshe Rabbeinu, but the job of Moshe Rabbeinu, like Mordechai and the Moshe Rabbeinu, as we mentioned, I think a few weeks ago, doing the job of Moshe Rabbeinu in that generation. He's the head of the generation. Just like a head of a body is running the whole body. Same thing, every generation there is a head, and his idea is, we'll soon see what's the idea. We spoke about it before. The idea of the Moshe Rabbeinu of the generation is to reveal in the Jew what normally is concealed. It says in the Gemara that every day that there's no day that is not lower than the day before. It means in history every day becomes low. They had Metzora started when they're high. And from them it can be Samigdash, then the second Samigdash was a lower level. Then we are in Golos for almost 2,000 years. Every day is becoming more darker and darker. Why? We need to bring Mashiach. Why is it becoming darker? And also, the question becomes bigger. The neshamas of our generation is lower than the previous generations. It says also in Kabbalah. The neshamas of the who came out from Mitzrayim were were very high neshamas. And as we're going further and further, we're talking about lower neshamas. So let's take a second. So we're saying that every day is becoming lower level than the day before. And every generation is lower neshamas. How do you expect from a lower neshama to do a job in a darker place when the previous generation not necessarily was so perfect, and he was a higher neshama, and also and there was less darkness, and they didn't necessarily manage. So how could we say we expect now? The Gemara says that if the previous generation was like angels, we are like angels, that we are like people. We are like people. If they were like people, we are like a donkey. In other words, the gap between one generation and another generation is like from angels to people, and from people to donkeys. And again, the Gemara said, not like the donkey of Pinchas ben Yair, that he wouldn't eat tevel unmeised food, and it was a very high donkey. We are just compared to previous generation, we are almost like donkeys. That's an interesting thing. I'm not going to go in that direction now. Many people in our generation think that they are cleverer than the generation before because they have more information. So we're telling you that the difference is between an angel and a person. The person has no idea, so no perception in the greatness of the angel. He knows he's greater, but or sometimes you could think the angel is lower than him. And the same thing, that donkey has no idea in a person. That is the gap. One generation, two generations. And in the Sichas of the Frierdiker Rebbe, we see it plenty. As compared to the Chassidim of the Alter Rebbe, compared to the Chassidim of the Mittler Rebbe, the second Babisher, the Tzemach Tzedek, we are mamish like donkeys compared to them. And I mean, the gap is so big that you don't even appreciate how much greater they were from us. To the point that we think that you're better than them. But that's the Gemara saying it's not so. So how are we expecting from us? How is expected from us? And what is the logic? What's the purpose of make every generation more darker? Right? Even if the previous generation was successful, so they were not so dark as in our generation, as we soon explain what the darkness is. And the neshamas were not so low. So how now when we have more darker and lower neshamas, how could we be successful? Now, just to make clarification, where do we see that we are in a darker place, in a way we're living in a better time? If physically we live in that better time, and spiritually also, there's more Torah printed, and there's more people learning Torah. It's true, but so where we see that it is darker. But saying that, I think we mentioned it also before in previous shiurim, that today a child from 10 years old, even earlier, has a telephone that has all the schmutz of the whole world in his lap. And so there is never in history that the Jewish children had to have so much challenges like a child has today. and the openness of the streets, of everything else. So we see that the darkness today is, as we said, is frightening, and if you see manifests itself in certain ways in the world, and male and female, so we want to change, and all these foolish things. So how do we have a chance to overcome it, and what is the purpose of that? So what is the purpose in general of the going down in to Galus and in Galus, lower, lower, and lower? So let's get first the principal idea of what we're talking here, and with that, the core of the whole idea of what we're talking about. So every generation has more darkness and different style of darkness, different style. In Kamali Strasha, the challenges was mainly from the outside, from the government, who did not let to learn Torah, did not let to have shul, a mikveh, a bris. And you could say even the Holocaust, that people were killed because they're Jewish, right? So that's kind of a darkness that was, and made them all being holy, being killed for being a Jew. It becomes a Kodesh, becomes a holy neshama. The neshama becomes refined, whatever she has to be refined for something. So the good of the idea, the principle, I think, has to be very simple, because that's the principle of the whole idea. We have to connect to the Eibishter, and in deeper levels. No generation is repetitive. It's not that we are in Galus now because we didn't do enough tshuva, so we're sitting in Galus. That also has some truth to it, but that is an external reason. The real reason is every generation, and the whole of history was designed. The Rebbe did not create a world and then he came with mitzvahs and then found reasons for it. He had a plan what he wanted, and according to that, the world created. Therefore, the Rebbe one time said an unbelievable kind of idea: cannot be anything in the world that could really be against Torah or mitzvahs against the Jew. This is something like very, very puzzling. There's nothing that could be against the Jew and against Torah or mitzvahs. Why not? First, let's explain the logic why not, and then we'll ask the question. Because the whole world is created for the Jewish people and for Torah and mitzvahs. So if the whole world is created for that, it's designed exactly for the sake of being able to do Torah and mitzvahs and for the Jewish people to be able to do what they have to do. So it doesn't make sense, and there is no, the Rebbe made a statement, there's no such a thing as something in the world should be against the Jew, against the mitzvahs. Now the question is, but on the other, let's say we are like a sheep between 70 wolves, right? Right? And as we said in the Agvalim, every generation they're trying to annihilate us, begashmis, physically and spiritually, with the negative ideas, right? Like in Mitzrayim, they sank into 4 negative impurity. So that means if you're looking deeper on the challenges, what's happening, it's not against us, it's for us. Everything is working for us. And the Rebbe gives an interesting example for that. So the king that had a child, he gave the best education, not only in information, but in character development and refinement and commitment to what's right and good and clean. Then he wanted to test them. But not only to test them, because in the case of the Rebbe knows, the test is going to give him an opportunity to go higher. So he hired a woman that should try to get him to sin and to see if he will fall in or not. It says actually the Zer, the Alter Rebbe is quoting the Zer, that's the marshal what I'm quoting now. Right? So now you could say that's against him. She's very, very convincing. So the Zer says no. Really, the whole purpose is to give you an opportunity, not only to test you to see, because I said the Rebbe to give you an opportunity to overcome the challenge, then you become a much higher level. Like Nisayon, Milashon Nes, miracle. Nisayon is a test, challenge. Word of Nes, miracles. Orim Nissi al Horim, to lift you up. The idea of to lift us up. So that's the whole purpose of the. But now the Alter Rebbe is saying in the name of the Zeh that not only the child doesn't want to sin, the prostitute, the woman that coming to convince him to sin, she also doesn't want him to sin. So the Yetzer Hara doesn't want us to sin because he knows he'll get much better. The king, better reward if the kid will not sin. He knows that he's all cooked. But has to be in such a very concealed way that you don't see it that she doesn't want it to sin. But if you see, then it won't be a real test. In other words, let's put it that way. The depth of a person, you have to look at layers and layers and layers. Just like we have 4 worlds, we have 4 worlds in our neshama. There is higher than the 4 worlds, they have the higher level neshama. Then you have, so you're saying you have Yetzirah, Asiyah, say, and then you go to see Yetzirah, Bria, Atzilas, you go high from Atzilas, Arich, then you go high, you go Atik, then you go to Ak. And even if there's infinite levels in every world and between the worlds. Then you go to live in that symptom before the first contraction of what created this space for the world, and even higher than that and higher than that. So a Jew, by being a chelik of the Eibishter, he has that depth in himself. How are we going to reveal it? So if you're overcoming externally because you're a very clever person, a very good character person, and you overcome your challenges with that strength of logic and emotions, very good. But you did not reveal the deepest connection with the Eibishter that you have, the essence connection that you have in yourself and the Eibishter. That's not revealed because you overcame it with good logic and good character traits and good education. So the only way to reveal a deeper level in ourselves, what the Eibishter do, makes a concealment. Now, when you have a concealment, means the concealment expresses itself in many different ways. First of all, logically by the person, emotionally by the person, and the collective subconsciousness in the world, and the darkness in the world, to a point that becomes a real challenge to overcome it. Now, from the point of view of a lower level, so the only solution you have is to reveal a deeper level of your connection with the Eibishter. In other words, to overcome, in simple words, physical world, the more darkness there is, the more you want the light to shine further, you need a stronger light. So the darkness is forcing us to reveal a deeper connection with the Eibishter. Okay, so when we reveal a deeper connection with the Eibishter, are we satisfied with that? Is the Eibishter happy with that? So we say no. So then comes the next level, and more darkness. The more darkness it comes, the more it reveals a deeper level of commitment in the Jew that he is connected to the Eibishter. That's one aspect. The other aspect is, won't go into it too much, is transforming the darkness into light. Not only to bring more light to overcome the darkness, but to transform the darkness into light. So what we're saying basically, in simple words, is that you have a very essence connection with the Eibishter. Every Jew has an essence connection with the Eibishter. And that has to be revealed. And the only way to reveal you that is by giving you deeper challenges and higher, stronger challenges and more darkness. It becomes in a form of darkness. And that is giving you the opportunity and almost like, say, bringing you to overcome the challenge only with revealing a deeper level in yourself. So if you say the goal is to reveal the essence connection, because to become to the essence is as we said, there's many levels. And every generation in a different way revealed that connection to the Eibishter in a deeper level. Take, for example, Purim. Well, the whole Jewish nation had Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice for the Yiddishkeit. It revealed, and that's when it became a yontif for eternity, because it revealed a connection of the essence of the Jew with the Eibishter that was never revealed like that. Then came Chanukah, even so it was not, all Jews had Mesiras Nefesh, and they revealed like Purim, but still was a deeper level of Mesiras Nefesh. So the whole history is designed very clearly by the Eibishter. I like to call it like a gym. very clearly and very specifically for every person, and what he needs to go much deeper than himself. And he must go much deeper, not just a little bit deeper. If he will remain in the level from before, there is no way he'll be able to overcome the challenges. So with every day, we have to go deeper and deeper. The Rebbe gave us time. Every day has to be fulfilled to go deeper, not only to do in technically things. Really practical mitzvahs, that the mitzvah that you do today has to be in a much deeper level of connection from yesterday. But number one, the idea that you're doing it again and you have a challenge, that itself makes it stronger. And sometimes, or very often, you have to reveal a deeper connection to overcome the challenge. And even the failing, the fact that we're failing, why did we fail? Especially because we had a free choice, has a point, right? But the main reason of failing is that once you failed, now you have to reveal even a deeper level in yourself to come back. If somebody who never failed, that's why it says, "B'mokem shebal tshuva ein tzadikim mum chen olamed." In a place of Bal Tshuva standing, tzaddik cannot stand there. Why? Because the tzaddik, by the end of the day, did not fail. So therefore, he never is able, he never has the opportunity to reveal his essence of connection with the Eibishter. So almost basically, we're giving an explanation why the Eibishter designed the world in such a way that we are failing so much. And failing is a very important thing of our life. As we say, Shamno every day, and Tehillim, David HaMelech always saying, Chatasi and I sin. Because the whole purpose of this sinning is to fall and to say, okay, I fell so low, I lost my connection with David. There's no such a thing. In an external level, yes, you lost your connection in the external level. But there is a deeper level of connection that can not only fix the connection, but take you into a much higher and deeper level. And that's the real reason for Hashem created that system of sinning. So therefore, we are real partners in really being challenged and revealing in ourselves the deeper level. And therefore, if we could explain it or not, it's irrelevant. But every generation, or at least every few generations, there's a much deeper challenge than before. Take, for example, as I mentioned before, the last generation had in communist Russia, they had Mesiras Nefesh practically. They were put to jail, they were killed, they were tortured. Us, Baruch Hashem, nobody is killing us against Yiddishkeit. You could do whatever you want. But the darkness of the world, the collective subconsciousness, the lowliness of the darkness of the world, and the darkness, what we call the internet, with all this darkness that is in it, is in a way a harder challenge than the challenge was before. And the neshama is a lower level. How could you overcome it? A lower neshama with more dark, how could you overcome it? Because you go in a deeper level of your neshama is beyond limitation, that you never got there before. Therefore, you overcome it. And you reveal that. And that makes you a step. And somebody says, okay, enough with the challenges. Yes, it's nice to say, and we say maybe it's enough. No, but at the end of the day, we know we have to even sometimes create challenges for ourselves, because we have to reveal our potential. And here we talk not only a deeper potential of intellectual or the emotional or talents, we're talking about the potential of the essence. The essence is connection with the Eibishter. And that has to, and therefore the challenge, the challenges are there in order to bring us to reveal that idea. Okay, so the question is, yeah, my essence is connection with the Eibishter, but consciously, well, I don't see it. Consciously, I as I said, you feel everything the opposite. So that has what we call the Yechidah Neshama, the essence of your Neshama. The essence of your Neshama is absolutely one, and it's even higher than the essence of the Neshama in Yechidah. The real essence is one with the Eibishter. Yeah, but what does it help me? I don't feel it, and I don't see it. So that comes out in the Moshe Rabbeinu of the generation. He has the general Neshama. All our Neshamas are part of his Neshama. And in him is revealed the essence of the Neshama. The essence of the Neshama that's one with the Eibush, that's revealed in him. And him, to his teaching, to his encouraging us to do different things, is that by following it, we're revealing that essence of the Neshama, that's my essence and everybody's essence, but that's in Moshe Rabbeinu. in our case, the Nasi Ador, the head of the generation, the Rebbe, that is revealed, that you have to reveal that. So he's helping us by doing that. For example, take a simple example. Rebbe said, you're going and you're traveling, take your pair of tefillin with you and Shabbos candles and 12 psukim, and find a person and offer him to put on tefillin. Offering to find a woman, give her candles for Shabbos candles. That makes you a different person completely. And the proof is in the pudding that we see that it's very hard in some public places to come up and stand like you can't put on film or the other kind of ideas. All the time Metzora of the Rebbe, of mezuzahs, film, kashrus, family purity. And then the Rebbe tells you that you have to be responsible for your whole town to give out matzahs. That is the whole idea. And then that's the spreading of Yiddishkeit. Then comes the idea of spreading the learning of Chassidus. It's talking more about your neshama. That's also it's harder to relate to that properly. When you learn Nigla the Torah, it's very simple. If somebody has an accident to somebody else, depends how it was, but with the halacha. You're learning about to learn Klimis HaTorah, the neshama of Torah, the soul of Torah, the essence of Torah, that touches to the essence of your neshama. That's already much more complicated. And therefore, the ultimate idea is that we have to reveal in ourselves that we should be to want Mashiach. But not to want Mashiach because I don't feel good, I have a stomachache, so Mashiach will take away my stomachache. Or because in Ukraine there's a war. In Ukraine there's a war, the Rebbe could stop the war without Mashiach. The idea of wanting Mashiach means you want the revelation, the connection with the Eibishter, that the essence connection should be revealed. The only way you could want that Mashiach, that the essence connection with the Eibishter is to be revealed, is only through Moshe Rabbeinu, and only when you come in touch with your essence of your neshama. And that's the job of Moshe Rabbeinu, right? As I said, to connect us to the essence of neshama. And if the Moshe Rabbeinu is my essence of my neshama, your essence of your neshama, the essence of neshama of the whole generation is in the Nasir there, is in the Moshe Rabbeinu Shabbat there. And therefore, we saw about the Rebbe, everyone that came into him, from the biggest chassid to the smallest chassid, from the Lubavitcher or not the Lubavitcher, from somebody even with anti, from a frumater, he found for him something, a challenge what to do. He pushed everybody, for example, he pushed everybody to write chidushim in Torah, to write on ideas of understanding of in Torah. He pushed even everybody, and he pushed to make the books in a more accessible, like to write index. That's very much the Rebbe pushed in that idea. Every Rosh Yeshiva that came into the Rebbe pushed him to write his shiurim. Almost everyone. Could be with everyone. And he wanted to have the books, and he used to pay them $1 for the book and give them something $1 for the next book. If it's with a secular person, it's not from yet, he's to encourage them to do something humanitarian, helping other Jewish people, or helping even non-Jewish people. And the Rebbe's idea with the Aleph in the day of education and good deeds is to make acts of goodness and kindness to encourage everywhere in the world. Because that connection that the Jewish people have with the Eibishter, that we are a light for the nations, expresses itself in every generation in a unique way, in a deeper way. And not only it affects the human being we have to affect, it affects even the animals and the vegetation and the inanimate. But that's it. In other words, the effect of revelation of godliness, like ultimately the complete revelation of that, it will be in Mashiach will come. But now also we have to affect everything. Therefore, when a person is going in the street, he has to think of words of Torah. Say a kapitel Tehillim, say a pasuk Chumash, say a line of Tanya. Any kind of Torah, think idea to learn to Mashiach and the Gemara today, whatever you learn. And therefore, we could say, the Rebbe is explaining that birth date of Moshe Rabbeinu, and in Moshe Rabbeinu, our generation, the Rebbe, that's the birthday of the whole generation, because that's your brain is being born out. Your etzem neshama comes down into a body here, and it will push you and help you and guide you to do your aveda, what you have to do in order to reveal the absolute essence of your neshama. And with that, we'll come to immediately to the revelation of the etzem and neshama of all Jewish people. And that is the meaning, this galus of Mashiach, and that says, Nissan Nigalu, in the month of this we were redeemed. In the month of this we will be redeemed. Maybe that we're preparing ourselves to the birthday of our Nasi of the Nasi of the generation, the Moshe Rabbeinu of our generation. So that's a auspicious time where we could push ourselves a little bit more and bring the revelation of Mashiach now. Beniske zen sich mit dem Rebbe beguf gash mit olamate b'hu yigaleinu. A good Shabbos, a good kosher, Pesach, and call to begash mit Mashiach now.